What is the situation in Ukraine's energy sector after Russia's intensified attacks on it? With what forecasts do we enter this winter? Is this still a scenario for 2022? Or maybe it will be worse, or maybe better. Are air defense and missiles arriving on time for winter?
Зимовим сезоном. And my question to the Prime Minister, first of all, thank you so much for your support. And if Russia drones violate the airspace in Netherlands, will you shut down them? Thank you.
Okay. Let's go like this. Let's start with air defense, shall we? Because our protection against missiles in winter is air defense. First of all, let's talk about Patriot, about NASAMS. The fact that we buy missiles, for the most part, we take it from the United States of America. This means that everything depends on the filling of the Pearl Corridor. Of this program, the program under which we purchase, we buy air defense from the United States of America. There are very responsible countries here, which understand what the price of this protection is and the price of living in Ukraine in winter. Firstly, this is the Netherlands, Germany, Canada, Sweden, Denmark, Norway. These are the main contributions that have been made. These are the main countries that gave money for this program, through which we buy scarce things that are available only in the United States of America. And I'll tell you honestly, yes, there are also our friends, the Baltic countries. It is clear that they are on our side, but their contributions, they are small. Yes, compared to these countries, because different countries, different budgets, etc. But they are also on our side. Very important. All other countries are European, and not only European, they are also on our side. But if we are talking about specifics, I have named you the countries that give money for air defense. And I'll tell you honestly, we've started talking to these countries about the second round, the second phase of their contributions, because we don't see speed from other countries. Unfortunately. Therefore, it depends on these countries today. We have deliveries. The Americans did not block anything. By the way, I know what was in the media, that there is a shutdown, there are some challenges. They did not block deliveries to Ukraine. This is important. Second story. We have supplies of air defense systems. And here are hooks, IRIS-T, NASAMS, Patriots. We get systems. I want it faster. But I told you what it depends on. Today, it is exclusively finances. Because, in principle, the Americans have unblocked the possibilities of purchasing Patriots. Not only missiles, but also systems. And the question is solely about money. That is, there are pluses, you see, there are also disadvantages. As soon as we diplomatically unblock something there, other scarce things appear. Therefore, I am counting on frozen assets, I will tell you honestly, depending on how, at what speed money appears. Now what else? Then we have energy. Of course, you need to prepare for everything, treat it normally, look soberly. Russia will do everything so that we cannot engage in the production of our gas. They will do anything. It will be difficult to protect all this. The task has been set to have money for gas imports in parallel so that people have gas. We understand how much money is needed and believe that we will be ready for such a challenge. What will happen to electricity? Today it is difficult for me to say. We will be ready for all relevant challenges. We work on it every day. We will defend ourselves, we will fight. The Russians need to know. Look, we will step by step increase the production of all that, so that they also feel what we feel.
Thank you. Then I will continue on the drone question. A couple of answers to that one question. First of all, you saw what Dutch fighter jets did when the Russian drones entered NATO airspace. And the NATO command, they shot them down. Second, during the NATO summit, we were very keen on drone attacks, and we had a special group, military group, to combat. And that was the reason why also Denmark asked us to assist them last week in Copenhagen. And together, I think, with 7 countries, we did the job. I think even you helped the Denmark, so you're the most experienced. And of course, I mean, that's about either jamming them away or taking controls over, or in the end, shut them down, shoot them down. And my last remark would be, I mean, drone is now the issue of today. And we have to work very closely, especially with Ukraine, in developing counter-drone sensors, etc., etc. At the same time, we need to be very, very flexible. If we've seen the development of the last year only, or the last 2 years, developments are getting very quick. And the big question, of course, is it's drones now, but what will be in the end, together with AI and drones? That is going to be a very terrifying combination, and we have to defend ourselves for that. And that means that we have to cooperate internationally within NATO, within the EU, and with Ukraine. And within the EU, the Netherlands is the lead country for the drone counter attack in developing all kinds of measures. So maybe a little longer answer than you expected, but I think it's worthwhile enough.
One last question, please. NOS, Netherlands.
Gertjan Dennekamp, Dutch television. First a question to Mr. President. Over the last weeks, we saw intensified Russian attacks on the electricity system in Ukraine, but we saw also intensified attacks of Ukraine on the oil industry in Russia. We saw also reports about attacks on the electricity in Belgorod. Can you confirm it was Ukraine that shot at the electricity station in Belgorod? And you always criticized Russia for attacking civilian infrastructure. Is civilian infrastructure off limits for the Ukrainian army? And the second question to you, Prime Minister. You said maybe we are too much focused on rules. Is that an opening to a different approach in the case Hungary doesn't change its mind?
Shall I start? Then you have the last word. I think that will be appropriate. Well, I read it in the papers that we are too much rule-based, so I thought maybe I should make that remark today. But I think it's we are, as I said, I mean, the future of Ukraine is within the European Union, and the real problem is Hungary here. So we have to deal with Hungary. That's the assumption of the Netherlands. That's what we are discussing. But of course, and we have also had a debate in Parliament last week, where a big majority in Parliament also stated that I had to be strict to the rules. And that's also important for me. As you know, I'm a Prime Minister now of a cabinet with a minority in the Parliament. And so I have to listen to the Parliament as well. But of course, we are discussing every issue there is, because I think it's important that the problem with Hungary is being solved. But first instance should be solved with Ukraine. Hungary, by the way. Yes, for Ukraine, sorry.
Russians don't even understand the cost of all these blackouts, dark nights.
Блекаутів, темних ночей,
All challenges
викликів,
that the citizens of Ukraine feel and are going through during this war.
громадяни України і проходять в часи цієї війни.
And here the question is not even about their morality, which does not exist.
Якої немає,
And the question is about the physical sensation.
відчуття.
Ukraine does not kill civilians,
Цивільне населення
does not hunt the civilian population of the enemy.
ворога.
Absolutely. But they must understand the cost of this. Ukraine responds and hits military facilities. And this is fair, I think. Energy facilities that sell their energy resources, Russia sells its energy resources and then uses this money exclusively for the war. Therefore, I believe that Ukraine is taking absolutely fair steps. We wouldn't be happy to do that. We would gladly wish there was no war. But the Russians do not want this. For now. And therefore, this war can be stopped not only by pressure. The pressure is multi-vector. There is not enough pressure from Western countries today. And unity in this pressure, I believe, is also not recognized. It is not enough. More pressure from the United States. More pressure from Europe and from the global south. We do not even feel their pressure on Russia to stop. And the second vector is itself, the society of the Russian Federation. They're killing us. They can't be comfortable. And when they are not comfortable, they will start asking questions of their management. So far, like this.